Hi, thanks for inviting me. On a fine spring day in 2008, surprising words cropped up on my computer. I had logged onto Google to look up some biographical information about United Nations Special Envoy Stephen Lewis of Toronto. I typed in the letter S and then paused to recall whether he spelled his name Stephen with a PH or Stephen with a V, when suddenly a drop-down menu offered recent S searches, including sax, saxing, and saxing boys and girls. Saxing? But no one in the family plays saxophone, I chuckled. They must have meant trombone or trumpet. I wonder if one of the boys is thinking about switching instruments. My husband and I have 9 children, 4 by birth and 5 by adoption. In 2008, they were ages 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 20, 24, and 27. Saul, Daniel, Jesse, and Joseph, the younger boys, ranged in ages between 11 and 14. Jesse had come a few years earlier at age 5. Saul had come at age 10, and brothers Daniel and Joseph had come just a year earlier at ages 10 and 13. So when studying these Google searches, I suddenly remembered they can't spell. I returned to the Google search bar and hit a few random letters. Every letter I touched produced a little spurt and cascade of misspelled, dirty words and phrases. I went back to the beginning of the alphabet, and I did this in alphabetical order. You had your male body parts, your female body parts, and in the C's and F's, a few 4-letter words spelled correctly. I cheered up briefly in the V's with the appearance of the word Virginia. Oh, right, so sometimes they do use my computer to research their homework, I thought happily. I glanced down the list for hints of Jamestown, the Royal Colony, and Thomas Jefferson. But then I recalled, not for the first time, they can't spell. Amazon.com presented new products for my inspection based on my recent searches. Just for me, Amazon was saving a video of the Kama Sutra. Wow, that is some good spelling, I thought. I'd always thought it was spelled Karma Sutra. Probably my 2 older sons, who were then 24 and 20, had looked into erotica also, but they had come of age in an era closer to the lifetimes of Thomas Edison and the Wright brothers. When they were young teenagers in the 90s, computers were slow, black and white, more like toasters or window fans than like science fiction portals into every crevice of the known universe. When my oldest boys were young, forbidden images arrived by mail in the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue and in the Victoria's Secret catalog. To conceal manly research from mother, a 20th century boy hid the magazines deep under his bed in the twilight of old socks and lost report cards. No electronic trail lingered. 21st century boys were unlucky in this way. But I felt confident in my ability to protect my 21st century boys from porn on the internet. The very day I discovered their new research interest of saxing, I bought a software product called Net Nanny. Any attempt to visit websites with females other than Julia Child, Indira Gandhi, or Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher was blocked by the sudden appearance in profile of a British nanny in a starched apron and a little peaked cap. In profile, she held up in her hand a computer mouse that she'd evidently just cheerfully yet violently yanked out of a teenager's hard drive. I felt smug about Net Nanny for 2 months, but my sons were stymied by Net Nanny for a day and a half. Their friend up the street taught them to turn off my computer, turn it back on, and quickly create a computer guest account. Our computer guest was named Franny. Franny was the name of our elderly, freckled, well-meaning rat terrier. I may not be of the computer generation, but even I know that a rat terrier would have no interest in a computer guest account. On Franny's guest account, there was no Indira Gandhi, but there were plenty of friendly, outgoing, and top-heavy young women. I retaliated with even stricter software called Safe Eyes. Safe Eyes blocked teenage boys from visiting any website other than one named www.funwithfractions.com. So the boys downshifted to other media. One day, a $120 bill arrived from our cell phone carrier. It seemed that the excess charges arose from the younger boys' cell phone numbers. Hardcore sex scenes had been downloaded onto their tiny screens. I didn't know they had internet access on their phones, I complained to customer service. I wanted to say, I didn't know you could get 2 female breasts on such small screens. The boys had told me they needed cell phones so they could call me when soccer practice was over. Each had portrayed himself as at risk of abandonment, alone and fearful on a vast soccer field as night fell, long after the boys with cell phones had called their mothers to come get them. Customer service waived the charges because the boys were not supposed to have internet access on their cell phones, so that portal was closed. But the boys journeyed on. A cable TV bill arrived one day, charging us for a pay-per-view purchase of a triple X-rated movie about pole dancing. Pole dancing is not, I recently learned, the festive springtime event of European folk culture in which young girls hold ribbons and weave around a central post, wrapping it in a rainbow of colors, while adult white males in short pants and knee socks whistle into wooden flutes. No, that is maypole dancing, another thing entirely. I'm learning so much. I checked the date on the Comcast bill and realized that I'd had a 7th grade son home sick at that very hour. He'd been napping on the basement sofa in front of a TV, in front of which non-maypole dancing was being anthropologically examined. I pounded downstairs with the $20 bill, found this son, and held out the bill to him. This was your movie. This was the day you were homesick. This cost us $20. What are you going to do about it? Oh, okay, he said mildly. He slipped into his bedroom, removed his wallet from a drawer, took out a 20, and handed it to me. Mollified, I couldn't think of anything to say other than, hey, thanks. But upstairs in the kitchen, I had misgivings, which I shared with my husband, a criminal defense attorney named Don Samuel. I'm not positive, but I think I just sold our 14-year-old son pornography, I said. That's not good, replied Donnie. To which I replied, I feel like his pimp. Of course we tried parental controls on the television. Parental control should have the subtitle, "Ask your kids to show you how this thing works." The only parental control we ever successfully installed on the television blocked nothing the children ever wanted to see, but made it impossible for my husband and me ever to view PBS NewsHour again. So it should not have been a huge surprise when, on a Saturday afternoon in August, another cable TV bill arrived, this one charging $430 for pay-per-view purchases of X-rated movies involving lingerie, Las Vegas, saxing, probably the Kama Sutra, and possibly even Virginia. This time I was really mad. We'd had the excruciating and one-sided discussions about relationships, true intimacy, and respect for women. We'd had these conversations, or monologues, with our daughters, and we'd held them with our sons. I'd done them. I had done them all because my husband, the criminal defense attorney, defender of people accused of arson, drug dealing, and murder, is incapable of allowing such delicate topics to touch his lips. I had explained to our sons that it demeans women to view them as sex objects. I touched upon the importance of respect in the approach to intimacy. The night I sat on the edge of Saul's bed and broached this subject, He fell straight backwards onto his pillow as if shot, and then reached out and pulled his bedspread up over his face, refusing to reappear for the rest of the evening. The afternoon the pay-per-view bill arrived, the 4 younger boys and their friends were lounging around the kitchen table, enjoying popsicles. "I need to talk to the Samuel boys right now," I announced. The bill shook in my grip as if I had just grabbed a live duck out of the air. Their friends evacuated. Our daughter Helen peeked in and wondered if she were needed. "I said the Samuel boys," I yelled, and Helen fled. I smashed the bill flat onto the table. $430, I shouted. "Who's going to pay for this?" Daniel and Joseph instantly lost all English-speaking ability. Saul put up both hands in self-defense and shook his head no. He looked around himself in horror, as if shocked to find himself in such low company. But Jesse coolly raised one finger, like someone signaling for the check. "It was me," he said. "Really?" I said. I was shocked at the rapidity of the confession. "All the movies, Jesse, you?" "Yep," he sighed. "Jesse, this is a ton of money." "I know," he said. He tisked sadly at his behavior as if, what are you going to do? "Go get your allowance book," I snapped. He handed over the account register while his 3 brothers watched expressionlessly. "Jesse, this will take you the rest of the year to pay back," I said. "You've got no spending money till December." "Okay, Mom," he said. "Can we go?" asked Saul, eager to put distance between himself and this distasteful subject. "Go!" I waved the others away. They fled. But in just a moment, Saul was back. For the second time in a 3-month period, he opened his wallet, pulled out a 20, and gave it to me. "What's this for?" I said. "To help Jesse," he said. "Really?" I asked, startled. I was touched. "Here, Mom," said Daniel, regaining a few words of English. "Help Jesse." He gave me a 10. Then Joseph showed up and handed me $40. "Joseph, sweetie, you don't have to do this," I said. "To help Jesse," he said. "Jesse, wow, you have such sweet brothers," I told him. "You'll be able to pay off the rest of the bill easily." With a lump in my throat and tears in my eyes from these brotherly kindnesses, I made my way to my husband in the front room, where he reclined in an armchair reading his law books. "You will not believe what just happened," I told him. "We have such sweet boys." I told him about the money they had donated to Jesse's case without anyone asking for it. Donnie glanced up from the 11th Circuit Criminal Handbook, said, "They watched the movies too," and went back to his reading. Why? Why am I such an idiot? I've been a mother for decades, and this insight would never have occurred to me. The next day, I found Jesse in the kitchen over a bowl of Fruit Loops, alone. "Jesse," I said, "those movies, did your brothers watch them with you?" "Mom," he said, "are you kidding me? I didn't watch any of them. Did you see those times? The movies were ordered. They were all ordered at 5 and 5:30 in the morning. I don't get up that early. They watch them before school." It was true. The former Ethiopian goat herd still got up at dawn every day. "Well, Jesse, why did you say it was you?" I asked him. "Did you see their faces?" he said. "They were terrified." He returned to his Fruit Loops. I relayed this news to Donnie. He laughed and said, "They must have been thinking, Jesse's been here the longest. Jesse can take the heat." I'm a sucker for sibling solidarity. To celebrate Jesse's having paid off the bill and the spirit of fraternity that helped him do it, I took the 6 youngest kids to the movies. I took the brothers and sisters to the Disney Pixar animated movie, WALL-E. "Thanks, Mom. That was really fun, Mom," everyone said when we got home from our big night out. The sisters Lily and Helen headed upstairs to their bedroom, and the 4 boys ran for the basement stairs. Thanks.